South Africa's anti-apartheid heroine Winnie Mandela has died at the age of 81. A family spokesman said she died peacefully on Monday, surrounded by her family and loved ones after a long illness. Winnie was the former wife of South Africa's first black president, Nelson Mandela.
My husband has been fighting for the liberation of the African people.
During his 27-year incarceration, she campaigned tirelessly for his release. They were famously pictured hand in hand the moment he left prison. In subsequent years, that picture changed.
Pretoria has failed to rule our country.
Both were anti-apartheid activists, but while Nelson campaigned for reconciliation with the white oppressors, Winnie built a reputation as a fighter against them. Her uncompromising methods contrasted sharply with her husband as he worked to forge a stable democracy. It killed their marriage and often landed her in the spotlight for the wrong reasons. While she had been hailed as the mother of the new South Africa, later years saw her reputation tainted, legally and politically. She was sacked from her ex-husband's government for corruption, alongside tales of glamorous living. In later years, she described her marriage to Mandela as a sham, and that her true marriage was to her political party, the ANC, calling it the best marriage she'd ever had.
This is the aftermath of a suspected chemical weapons attack in the city of Duma, northeast of Syria's capital, Damascus. First responders on the ground believe that chlorine mixed with another unknown gas
King visited Windsor, Ontario and spoke at the Emancipation Day celebration. King was supposed to visit Canada again for a vacation to New Brunswick with friend Carol DeWolf. But letters discovered in the National Archive revealed the owner of a chalet told King and his wife, Coretta Scott King, they were not welcome. The letter read, quote, "A great many are from the New England states, as well as those from further south. For this reason, we feel it would be better not to accommodate your friends." It would be more than a decade later, just about 1 year before his death, that King made one final visit to Canada to participate in CBC Massey Lectures.
It is a deep personal privilege to address a nationwide Canadian audience.
But perhaps one of the biggest Canadian connections was after King's assassination. His killer, James Earl Ray, fled to Canada immediately after shooting King on April 4, 1968. Ray would end up in Toronto, using aliases to disguise his identity. One of the places Ray stayed was here, at 102 Ossington Avenue. It's now home to Tanny Lloyd-Smith. She discovered the historical significance just a few months ago.
And then I came across this very tiny byline that said something about Martin Luther King, assassination, 102 Ossington, and of course I was like, what? So I clicked on it, and that's when I learned that the gentleman that assassinated Martin Luther King resided here, and I was shocked that nobody seems to know that.
Ray would eventually leave Toronto on a fraudulent passport. And 2 months after King's death, Ray was arrested at London's Heathrow Airport. He eventually pled guilty to murdering King and was sentenced to 99 years in prison.
for bringing us together this week to reflect upon the life of Dr. King and also to remember those brave sanitation workers who showed us 50 years ago.
He envisioned a beloved community that was balanced with justice and love. And to have one without the other is to have neither. In this beloved community, we all understand our mutuality, and we fully understand that an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. As an attempt to live into this vision, Together for Hope continues to fight against the poverty that Dr. King started with the Poor People's Campaign. We at Together for Hope are a rural development coalition focused on the 301 counties of persistent rural poverty in America. And we have locations from the Dakotas down here to the Delta, and from Arizona all the way over to Appalachia. Our four main priorities of hope are education, health, nutrition, housing and environment, and social enterprise. And we view poverty as a 21st century injustice. And poverty is not a mistake in our system. It is the result of our economic system that continues to favor rich over poor through policies that systematically give more money to the wealthy by destroying the social safety net that keeps those who experience poverty alive. By stealing from the poor and not paying a living wage and giving to the rich through exorbitant tax breaks, our nation violates the law of God and what Christians call the good news or the gospel. We face the greatest income inequality that our nation has ever seen, while our holy scriptures tell us, behold, the wages of the laborers who work your fields, who has been defrauded by you, cries out, and the cries of the harvesters has reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. Due to this grinding poverty that robs children of their future and adults of their dignity, Together for Hope is partnered with Out Hunger to ride out poverty and simultaneously create space for racial healing and racial justice. And to that end, we created Civil Rides. Today we ride our bicycle.
Hello and welcome to another episode of your Human Service News and Information. I'm Hasson, Rashid, and I'll be here with you for about 15 more minutes. Because we decided to share with you some snippets of commemorating 50-year anniversaries of the assassination of Martin Luther King, the 50th anniversary of the Coroner Commission report on race and inequality, and there was one more. I didn't get a chance to run that short snippet I had for you. That was 50 years anniversary of the Fair Housing Act, okay? But you can be sure that as soon as I catch up with that video footage, I'll share it with you. I'm Hasson Rashid, your host, and this is once again your Human Service News and Information. So, okay, so we're gonna just give you a few things, share a few things with you right now about what's happening here at CCTV. There's a lot of things going on, but the main thing is that the anniversary, this big anniversary event that's held here yearly is about to transpire. That's when they have the elections, the CCTV Board of Elected Officials. That's the Board of Directors election, and there'll be music, there'll be food. There'll be special guest speakers, and of course there'll be Susan Fleshman, our CEO of CCTV, and she'll be one of the featured speakers at that event. Okay, I'm trying to find there's a printout on it somewhere here, so I wanted to share it with you, but I don't seem to be able to. Okay, wait a minute, here we go. That's the Cambridge Community Television serving fresh locally made media since 1988, and that's the official name of this event is the annual meeting. That's right, annual meeting. So you're invited to join CCTV, join us here for elections, awards, strategic plan, friends, and food. That's, okay, the date, I didn't give it to you before, but right now, that's Wednesday, April 25th, and and the annual meeting begins at 6 p.m. and your presence is requested for that great event here at CCTV. So once again, that's April 25th, beginning at 6 p.m. And don't you forget to to show up, okay? Other things happening here now is that April classes and events. That's the okay. We missed that intro podcasting. Okay, on the 17th, there's an audio 101. On the 18th of April, 6 to 9 p.m. There's Field Camera 101 from 6 to 8 p.m. on April 19th. That's a Thursday. Is Hot Steam, a science video art screening. Okay, Premiere Boot Camp, April 22nd, 23rd, 24th, Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays, 6 to 9 p.m. Art and Tech Show and Tell series presents Keaton Fox and Janie Harvey on video installation. That's April 24th, Tuesday, 6 p.m. And new 360 camera workshop. That's April 26th, Thursday, 6 p.m. Exploring broadcast pics. So a lot of things going on CCTV, but if you like the complete rundown of what's happening here, I advise you to come on in, or you can stop by the studios here and pick up CCTV's newsletter entitled Open Studio, and it will give you a complete rundown of what happens within CCTV. Okay, anything else that's related to CCTV outside of CCTV, or you come on and get your Open Studio, or you come on and inquire about some of these events you heard me announcing just shortly a little while ago. But if you like to call, you can also call. And that number, okay, if it hasn't changed since last time we looked at it, it's around 617-661-6900. And inquire about some of the things happening here at CCTV and how you can become a part of the MOSAIC. That's a CCTV. Oh, okay, MOSAIC, okay? I got one more I want to squeeze right in here. And that's steps to producing a program at CCTV. Come on in and learn how to produce your own TV program. That's right, or any other type of program that involves video, etc., etc. Okay, so that's enroll in and successfully complete CCTV's video production class, or test out by scheduling a proficiency test with Keaton. That's Keaton at the cctvcambridge.org, or call 617-401-4009. Submit a production contract. Okay, study your talents. Call CCTV to reserve equipment at edit time. Check in and out. Okay, that's Monday, Thursday, 12 noon to 8:30 p.m. Friday, 12 noon to 5:30 p.m. Sunday, 8 p.m. Record your program. Log your footage. Reserve an edit suite. When your program is complete, okay, invite your friends over. Your production contract will now be closed. And to some folks, that might not sound like anything to you. It might sound like foreign language, Italian or something, but the thing is that you come in and you get familiar with all these different technical terms and technical situations here at CCTV. Okay, okay, that's once again now, don't forget the annual meeting, Wednesday, April 25th, beginning at 6 p.m. There's election awards, strategic plans, friends and folks, and that's the day that you help participate in electing the new CCTV board of directors, okay, etc., committees, etc., etc. So you come on in, find out all about it, okay, on the April 25th, 6 p.m., okay. We did the Kerner's report. Some of you may not know what the Kerner's report is all about, so I took a featured article called the Publisher's Letter from the NAACP's a monthly, I guess, monthly magazine entitled Crisis, and the editor, she wrote a featured article on the Kerner's report. I'm going to try to share you a paragraph of that editor's letter, featured article in the latest edition of the NAACP's Crisis magazine. That's Laura D. Blackburn chaired the Crisis Board of Directors, okay? Quote, he says, the Kerner Commission report 50 years. 50 years after the Kerner Commission report, little if any real change has taken place on the race relations and race equality fronts. It is noted that 20 years after the 1968 report, our esteemed Roger Wilkins, Pulitzer Prize-winning criminal journalist and former chairman of publishers of the Crisis Publishing Company, Incorporated, co-authored a report that also maintained that nothing has changed, yet the actual sign designating whites only have come down, but the barriers still exist. The poor schools still line up in communities of color. Yes, the better jobs opportunity will still seek and find whites only. There are many wealthy African Americans, even a few black billionaires, but the jobless rate of African Americans are still more than double that of white Americans, and the incarceration of African American men, women is more than double that of white men and women. So I guess the current report was a study on race and equality, and with that report, I guess the government was going to use that report to base changes on, to a springboard for change. The current commission report 50 years ago anyway, it was one of the featured 50-year commemorations that we are bringing to your attention, along with the Martin Luther King assassination. And the Fair Housing Act was was signed about six days after Martin Luther King was assassinated, okay? So, by President Johnson, okay? I gotta work it up there as I move along, but you're gonna be hearing more about those 350-year events that right here, when time permits. Right now, we can't do everything. There's so much more that we'd like to share with you, and we just have to move along. Okay, there's something else I'm forgetting. Okay, I'd like to send out my condolence, deepest sympathies to all of our South African neighbors. I understand there's quite a South African community in eastern Massachusetts. I also send my deepest condolence and sympathy out to the South African for losing one of its greatest leaders, and that was Miss Winnie Mandela. And it was a great loss to the South African community. So you have my deepest sympathies for the passing of Miss Winnie Mandela. She was 81 years old when she passed. Okay, great loss to the South African people. Okay, I'm forgetting I'm Hasson Rashid, and this is your Human Service News and Information. At least that's what we try to turn this broadcast into. Human Service News and Information, okay? From poverty to opportunity, the challenge of building a great society. 50 years ago, here it is, 50 years ago, economic growth in America was leading to rising wages across the income spectrum and progress towards broadly shared prosperity. In the context, the nation launched a series of great social society initiatives to expand opportunity to those who were still being left behind and improve the lives of all Americans. Over that decade, poverty in America declined substantially from 22% of the population to 14%. But beginning in the 1970s, our economy changed and wages stopped growing with the economy. The gap between the very wealthy and everyone else began to grow, and poverty has increased. The mass budget that's Massachusetts of the Massachusetts Budget and Policy Center has released a new report, and it's entitled From Poverty to Opportunity. The challenge of building a great society traces how the economic and policy changes since the launch of the Great Society has affected the lives of all people, all income levels in Massachusetts. This report is being released in conjunction with the Massachusetts Association for Community Action, MASCAP, convening, joining together, ending poverty now. While we see real success from a number of programs, including SNAP, food stamps, and the Earned Income Tax Credit, that are lifting hundreds of thousands of people above the poverty threshold. Far too many children remain poor or near poor in the years since wages for low and middle income workers stopped growing. The economy, poverty, and child poverty have increased in Massachusetts. Poverty plus children are at risk for poor health outcomes, health risk for dropping out of school, and a greater likelihood of a lifetime of poverty. And when children don't have the opportunity to reach their full potential, we undermine the long-term strength of our economy. Okay, that's an article I have to share with you about this new release entitled From Poverty to Opportunity, that's being released by the Massachusetts Budget and Policy Center. So I imagine you can check them out on the website if at our website if you want to get access to this new report, this new mass budget new report, from poverty to opportunity, and they're at the Mass Budget and Policy Center.gov, okay, .gov, okay, .gov. All right, I got two more things I'm gonna try to squeeze in here before we have to leave it once again. Okay, okay, the Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies are holding a few events in April. We missed several of them, but these events are entitled Housing Research Seminar Series, Spring 2018, and they're at noon at the Joint Center for Housing, 1 Bow Street, 4th floor. The Harvard Joint Center for Housing Study advances understanding of housing issues and informs policy. Our ongoing research seminar series gives faculty, seniors, researchers, and graduate students the opportunity to present and discuss current and recent work with a mix of scholars and practitioners. And all of these events are open to the public, okay? Under April 20th, okay, there's an event coming. It's entitled events come to the Joint Center for Housing Studies, Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies, and the event is entitled Beyond Public Housing, Housing Authorities' Roles in Local Affordable Housing Market. Whitney Argood Olbrichski, Research Analyst, Joint Center for Housing Studies. So I guess that's who they're going to featured presenter, Whitney Argood Olbrichski, okay? Research Analyst, Joint Center for Housing. That's Harvard Joint Center for Housing Study. That's www.jchs.harvard.edu. Okay, Friday, April 13th. That's tomorrow. I don't know if that's bad luck day though, but traditionally April 13th Friday is a bad luck day, they say. But look, at 6:30 p.m. Harvard Graduate School of Design, 48 Quincy Street, Cambridge, they're having something that's entitled What Can Be Done to Reduce the Cost of Housing? Have the event to brainstorm, network, and think about 3 key questions. What's the problem? Why does it cost so much to build new housing? What could be done? What are some promising approaches in design, construction, or regulations that could reduce the cost of building new housing? How could it be done? What limits our ability to pursue the approaches? So the afternoons will end with the reception and poster session of student work. So it's free, open to the public, but registration is required. That's www.jchs.harvard.edu. So that's an event coming tomorrow, April 13th. Bad luck day, that's what they call it. Right? They don't believe in nothing like that. Okay, well, that's just about it. Okay, I'm not gonna go any further. Sharing things which you accept this here, Spirit Change. Okay, that's no. This is the latest edition, but the newest edition of Spirit Change, I think they're gonna release it tomorrow. So if you see any of the vendors out there, homeless vendors selling Spirit Change, you help them out, okay? Because that is how they supplement their income with no housing, etc., no shelter, and no work, etc., but selling of some of them, their sole source of employment is Spirit Change News. So you help the vendors out if you see them out there, okay? And those are the ones with the tags. Those are legal vendors, okay? The ones with the tag. I'm Hasson, Rashid. You know it's always excellent being here with you, and you know it's always a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here at the CCC TV. So next time, I always advise you keeping those 10 plates straight, and don't forget to assist someone in need of your help.
Goes from this sacred space down into the Mississippi Delta. And we'll continue riding for 3 days until we reach the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum in Jackson. On our ride, we'll go through Marks, Mississippi, where Dr. King was inspired to start the Poor People's Campaign. We'll go through Tutwiler, Mississippi, where the funeral home was that prepared Emmett Till's body for burial after it was retrieved from the Tallahatchie River.